Welcome back to History Rewritten, the place where the past collides with imagination. Today we were diving into one of the most outrageous alternate history scenarios yet. What if you had to fight a dinosaur in the Colosseum? Not as a knight in shining armor, not as a modern soldier with high-tech gear, but as a Roman gladiator in the heart of ancient Rome, armed only with the weapons and tactics of the time. This isn't the history you were taught in school. This is History Rewritten. The year is around 80 AD. The Colosseum is packed to bursting. The emperor sits proudly on his throne. The crowd is roaring with anticipation, and gladiators wait nervously in the tunnels below, adjusting their armor and sharpening their blades. Usually they expect lions, tigers, maybe the occasional bear. But today, something far stranger awaits. From deep within the holding pens comes a sound no Roman has ever heard before. A deep, bone-rattling roar that makes even the most hardened veteran flinch. The gates creak open, and into the arena steps a dinosaur. Imagine first the velociraptor. Now, real velociraptors were much smaller than the Hollywood versions, about the size of a turkey. But for the sake of Roman entertainment, let's imagine the larger Jurassic Park-style predators, 2 meters tall, fast, agile, and terrifyingly intelligent. The raptors dart across the sand, claws clicking, eyes fixed on the gladiators. The crowd gasps. The Romans had seen exotic beasts from across the empire, but nothing like this. In terms of tactics, a gladiator might use a scutum shield and short gladius sword to defend against quick strikes. But the raptors are pack hunters. One distracts, another attacks from the side, and before long, even the bravest Murmillo is overwhelmed. The Romans might try to form a shield wall, much like a miniature testudo formation, to hold the line against the creatures. Could it work? Possibly, for a time. Spears might keep the raptors at bay, but the moment discipline slips, claws and teeth find a way in. The Colosseum sands would run red. Now, let's raise the stakes. Instead of raptors, picture a triceratops. 3 massive horns, a frilled shield of bone, and the weight of a living tank thundering into the arena. Gladiators would be hopeless here. Spears might bounce off its hide, and nets, a common gladiator weapon, would be laughably useless. The best hope might be Roman engineering. Perhaps pits dug into the arena floor, spiked with sharpened stakes, could bring the beast down. But the Romans didn't come to watch clever traps. They came to watch men fight monsters. Against a charging triceratops, even the bravest gladiators would simply become part of the Colosseum's decoration. And then, of course, we have the ultimate nightmare, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The gates burst open, and the crowd falls into stunned silence as a predator the size of a building stomps into the sand. Gladiators scatter in terror, shields and helmets clattering to the ground. What could a Roman possibly do against a T-Rex? Spears, broken. Swords, ineffective. Arrows, annoying at best. Maybe, just maybe, a ballista, a Roman siege crossbow scaled down for arena use, could pierce its hide if the engineers were lucky. But face-to-face man versus tyrant lizard king, there is no contest. The Colosseum floor becomes a buffet table. Now, let's not underestimate the Romans entirely. They were resourceful, and if dinosaurs truly roamed their world, you can bet they'd experiment. Imagine Roman fire. They had Greek fire-like substances, pitch and oil. Torches could be hurled, creating walls of flame to corral dinosaurs. Perhaps nets weighted with lead shot, ballista bolts tethered to ropes, even collapsing wooden towers designed to drop cages onto beasts. Rome was nothing if not inventive. The idea of gladiators facing dinosaurs could have led to an entire branch of Roman spectacle dedicated to so-called monster hunts. And if, by some miracle, a gladiator did manage to bring one down, say a raptor skewered on a pilum, or a smaller dinosaur hamstrung and finished with a gladius, the crowd would lose their minds. Statues would be carved, songs would be sung, and that gladiator would become immortal in Roman legend. Now let's imagine the cultural impact. The Romans already loved to showcase their dominance over nature. Lions from Africa, elephants from Carthage, crocodiles from the Nile. all paraded and slaughtered in the arena to prove Rome's supremacy. If dinosaurs entered the mix, they'd become symbols of ultimate power. The emperor who commanded the capture of a T-Rex would be hailed as greater than any before. Victories against such beasts would not only entertain the masses, but also serve as propaganda, proof that Rome could conquer not just the world of men, but the very monsters of nature itself. But let's be real for a moment. In almost every scenario, the dinosaurs win. Gladiators weren't trained to fight apex predators from prehistory. A velociraptor pack would tear through them like parchment. A triceratops would scatter them like bowling pins. And a T-Rex, well, there's a reason it's called the king. The Romans may have had ingenuity, but ingenuity only takes you so far when you were staring into the jaws of a beast with teeth the size of daggers. Still, the spectacle would live forever. Imagine the graffiti on Roman walls, crude drawings of gladiators standing triumphant over a slain dinosaur, exaggerated of course. Imagine poets composing odes to the man who faced the thunder lizard and lived. Imagine children in the streets pretending to be gladiators, fighting imaginary monsters, swinging sticks at shadows. This blend of reality and myth would ripple through Roman culture, reshaping their religion, their legends, even their art. Dinosaurs might be carved into marble friezes, painted on villa walls, perhaps even worshipped as manifestations of the gods. And yet, we can't help but laugh a little. The thought of a heavily armored Roman sweating under the Mediterranean sun, squaring up against a snarling velociraptor, desperately trying to jab it with a gladius, is both terrifying and absurd. The mismatch is so complete that it almost feels like comedy. But maybe that, as the point of history, rewritten, to explore these impossible crossroads where fact and imagination collide. So, what's the verdict? Could the Romans have beaten dinosaurs in the Colosseum? Maybe with preparation, with traps, with siege weapons. Maybe, once or twice, a gladiator could claim victory. But in the grand scheme of things, the dinosaurs hold the upper hand. Or claw. Rome might win battles, but the dinosaurs would win the war. And perhaps that's why this idea fascinates us so much. It reminds us that no matter how mighty human civilization becomes, there are forces of nature far beyond our control. Forces that, if unleashed, would remind us just how fragile we are. Until next time, remember, this is not the history you were taught. This is history rewritten.